Hello and welcome back to the Greater You. Good to be with you on this wonderful Monday. Been a good day, good start to the week. I hope you guys are all doing well, getting going. So we've had a request. This is our first request for videos. This one is on letting go. This is such an important skill, and we have our 7-step process here that we use and teach as life coaches of the Greater You. The work that went into developing these 7 steps is extensive and has taken us many years to really perfect. But we find that these steps work very well in helping facilitate and move a person forward towards learning and mastering the skill of letting go. So let's take a look at these steps. These definitely I recommend using in a journaling format. Working with a life coach directly on this one-on-one is a very good idea, simply because this process can be a bit messy. Clearly, looking at these 7 steps, it looks relatively linear, but as you and I all know, I mean, it's nothing in our human experience is just a linear thing, right? There's no on-off switch to our feelings. Feelings come and go, ebb and flow. So keep in mind that these steps are really guidelines. There are some goalposts to work with, some things to kind of work to help you move towards that skill of letting go. Let me start though by saying that letting go is a skill that is a practiced skill that requires a lot of work to master. And it ultimately is a decision to let go. All right, so let's talk about this letting go process and look at these 7 steps. This is one of our deep dive videos, so this will go longer than 2 minutes, but we need to give this the attention that it requires. So the first step is, what am I holding on to? Before you can let go, especially mentally or emotionally, we have to figure out, what is it that I'm holding on to? Am I holding on to an idea? Am I holding on to an expectation? Am I holding on to a broken relationship? Am I holding on to grief? What is it I'm holding on to that I need to work on letting go? So doing that identification is really helpful. Sometimes we just have a general feeling that we're just kind of burdened, right? And we want to dig into that a bit, which is why talking to someone and working it through and journaling it out can and is recommended. It can be very helpful. So am I willing to consider, step 2, am I willing to consider that holding on to this thing is cluttering up my mind, holding me back? You can say this in multiple different ways. Very important step, though, to actually look at that accountability piece and say, what am I gaining? What am I benefiting? What am I getting from holding on to this thing? And you'll find that if it's a burden, usually we're not gaining anything positive from it. Holding on to past hurts and all those different things, really, it's kind of the visual I always get in my mind is, carrying a barge, or if you have some trailer behind you filled with a bunch of garbage and you've got like a rope and you're just kind of hauling that along day to day. That can be pretty burdensome, right? So am I willing to consider that holding on to this old stuff is holding me back from my own growth? There's different ways to say question or step 2, but those definitely help us to start looking at this. Journal about that, write it out. Step 3, is there unfinished business around this thing that I need to sort out before I can let it go? The unfinished business step is massive and may require some coach sessions to kind of work through, or some deep introspection, or a bunch of tears, or journaling, or whatever. But unfinished business is a thing, and we do need to pay attention to that. If there's unfinished business, take care of that. It really helps facilitate letting go if we do our part to do our due diligence to wrap up any unfinished business we have around whatever this thing is that we're holding on to. So that's step 3, very important step, and requires some delicacy and some effort and energy to work through. Step 4 moves us towards letting go. How can I benefit from letting go? Start thinking and listing out, what are the things that I can gain from the experience of letting go? What are the benefits that I will obtain? Am I going to feel more free? Am I going to feel lighter? Am I going to feel happier? Am I going to feel just less burdened? What is that feeling? Really dial that feeling in and describe it in as great a detail as possible. How are you going to feel when you let go? What kind of benefits will you get? Are you going to sleep better at night? Are you going to be, less stressed if you let go of whatever this thing is that you're holding on to? A lot of the times the stuff we're holding on to are rooted in fear, past hurts, and regrets, right? So as we work on facing those things, we can let those things go and benefit from them, right? Okay, so step 5. Can I give myself permission to let this go? This is so key. Remember that decision making is the core of the letting go process. We're trying to move back into our power with this process. We're trying to move away from victim thinking. We're trying to move away from feeling like we are beholden to whatever this thing is that we're holding on to. And we're trying to give ourselves really permission to be empowered to take charge of our lives, our happiness, and our joy, and to let go of stuff that's holding us back, right? So can I give myself permission to let this go? Go ahead and write about that one, but definitely it's a declarative, like, yes, I can give myself permission to do this, right? Or no. And if it's a no, there's probably some step 3 stuff that needs to be handled, right? Okay. Because holding on to stuff really is quite uncomfortable, isn't it? Isn't it exhausting? If you carried a 50-pound weight around with you all day long, you're going to get pretty tired pretty fast. I don't think you're going to make it all day. I don't care if you look like some big Mr. Universe buff guy. Holding on to stuff and carrying it around all day is going to hold you back, right? And it's going to get exhausting. Okay. So step 6, choose to let go, say it out loud, write it down as a declarative statement. I am letting go of my anger towards my old neighbor that used to let his dog poop on my lawn every day, whatever it is. That's just a random example, right? But say it out loud, write it as a declarative statement. Okay, so I'm going to let this thing go. I'm going to write it out. I'm not going to hold on to this stuff anymore. You can do all kinds of cool stuff with this. Once you write it out, you can burn that stuff in your fireplace or shred it in a paper shredder or just tear it to pieces with your hands. But write it out, say it out loud, work on making that decision and declaring it as I am letting this go. Like I said, this is a process. This isn't just a linear thing. So you might find yourself working through these steps a number of times and peeling that onion, right? And getting to the point where you really feel ready to let go of whatever it is you're holding on to. Step 7 is as essential as all of the other steps. Don't pick it up again. Or if you do, remind yourself you've already handled this and let it go again. Human beings, myself included, we are notorious to go back into our old stuff and pick up old garbage and start looking at it and ruminating on it again. And that serves nobody. That does not serve our health or well-being, does it? I mean, maybe if it keeps happening, there's some unfinished business, but that's back at step 3, right? So go through the steps as many times as you need to with the same topic and see if you can get yourself ready to really let that thing go. And then remind yourself gently and firmly, to quote one of my favorite people, the late Melissa Rourke, she would say, be firm and kind when you're reminding yourself of stuff that you've let go of. She would actually use that mantra with a lot of things, including setting boundaries, being firm and kind at the same time. She was a very talented life coach that actually helped to build this program. So we love Melissa. Okay, so step 7 is reminding yourself that you've already handled this and to let it go again if you need to, all right? So these 7 steps are powerful. They're profound. It is a process that you will work through multiple times. Please be kind and patient with yourself on this. Stuff that we've been holding on to, especially for a long time, might take a number of repetitions of this to get to that point where we let go. But you can do it. It is something that we are capable of as human beings. Just as we are capable of holding on to stuff, we are therefore capable of letting things go. So may you feel some freedom with these steps. If you get stuck using these, shoot us a message. We'll get you lined up with one of our many coaches that are very talented and have practiced letting go themselves, myself included. And we hope that this will create some lightness in your life and ease some burdens. Have a great day. It was good talking to you. Thank you so much for your time, and we will talk to you soon.